Alright guys, Budgie Tinkering back at you with another video today. Today I'm just gonna kinda head a little truck talk, do something around 20-inch barrels, just kinda talk about them. Now obviously I have a couple 26-inch barrels in my magnums. So I have a 300 PRC and a 6.8 Western. Both have a 26-inch barrel. I have an 06 that has a 24-inch, and then a 7.8 that has a 22-inch barrel. Now, some of you might be wondering, hey, like, there's nothing wrong with 20-inch barrel, and I'm going to say, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I think a lot of people, at least out here, they can kind of get wrapped up in the fact that, hey, you're not taking full advantage of the cartridge. Which I get. I like having all the zoomies, all the velocities. That's pretty fun. But sometimes you just don't need that. For example, I'm going to kind of pull in a few different other guys that I've watched. If we take my 6.8 Western, this is what I'm most familiar with. My current load's going around 2950 feet a second. Out for like, say, 2,000 feet per second. Out at range, when it hits that's kind of my cutoff for at least the rifle's performance. Not necessarily what I'm going to cut myself off at, but the rifle's performance. That puts that 170 Burger EOL out to 1,100 yards. Now, if you guys are pretty familiar, that's going to be pretty similar with the AccuBond long range. And then if you're getting, say, the CR Tip Game King up there as well, that's going to be pretty similar performance. Okay, so 1,100 yards. All right. Now let's back that off to say 2,800 feet a second, so say a 20-inch barrel, which very doable. I think if you're watching Montana Musings when he had that X-Bolt in a 20-inch barrel, as well as Rogue Summit Hunter, I want to say they're around that 2,750 to 2,800 feet per second. I know Montana Musings was using the 165 ABLR from Nosler, and he was getting around 2,850. So let's just say 2,800 feet a second, just for a good round number. That still puts that, and trust me, I'm at 8,000 feet of elevation is kind of where I run my ballistics for when I'm hunting. It's about where I'm sitting at. That's still okay, so 2,800 feet a second. These are like your mid, like 6.5-ish G1 BCs, 6.5, 6.3 G1 BCs. So if you have a similar cartridge or similar bullet that has a bullet with a similar BC, it'll be very, very close. That still puts it at 900 yards of effective range. I'm not going to lie, that's still pretty darn good. I wouldn't say I'd be really giving up anything because I even keep myself into, say, 600 yards. I want my first shot on an animal to be at 600 yards or less. So, what are you giving up with a 20-inch barrel? At least in my case, what would I be giving up, say, if I went to a 20-inch 6.8 Western? You're giving up a little bit natural weight of the rifle. I was looking at, it was Browning. They have a few rifles that you can get the same stock, same kind of mag feeding system, because they have a couple different ones right now. And it's a 26-inch barrel versus a 20-inch barrel. And it's about 13 ounces, so about 3/4 of a pound, give or take, is the difference in weight. Now, we're just throwing hypotheticals out there. Say it's the same load Obviously, it's not going the same velocity, but you're jumping a little bit in velocity. There's going to be a difference of about 150 feet per second. So recoil is going to be about the same. I'll have about, say, a lighter rifle, and if I want to, say, go to the same exact length of a 26-inch barrel, then I can put a suppressor on there, say a brake suppressor, so you get the benefits of a suppressor and some benefits of having a brake. Now, it's not going to be the most effective brake, but it'll at least do something. So then we're talking, okay, now these rifles weigh the same. The difference in the effective range of the rifle is 200 yards out past where I want to be taking my first shot anyways. That's not bad. Like, I can see why guys like these 20-inch rifles. And, I mean, this is just looking at Browning's X-Bolt line. So, similar rifle builds. There's no trade-off in weight, because I think a lot of people can get wrapped up in the ultra lightweight rifles, and then they have a poor shooting experience. I do still believe that having a controllable rifle is going to help you out more in the mountains than one with an uber goober amount of recoil. So I'd still want my rifle around that 9.5, 10-pound mark. I know some of you guys are like, that's way too heavy. I gotta lose a few pounds anyways. I'll be fine. But that's kind of what I'm looking at. It's like I can still have the same weight rifle, 20-inch barrel, still get good performance, very effective performance. And somebody like, yeah, well then you're taking the 6.8 Western, making it a 270. Okay, what is a 270 killed? Like everything. Cool. I just bumped it into the comfortable performance of a 270. Alright, that's fine. I mean, we could do the same thing with the 6.5 PRC and 6.5 Creedmoor. Or say 300 PRC and 0.6. 300 Win Mag and 0.6 if we want to be using like very much the same bullets. Like, it's going to do the same thing. You're going to, say, take 24-inch barrels in both, and then say take the Magnum, chop off those 4 inches, and it puts it into the comfortable, if not top-end performance of the lower cartridge, or the one that doesn't have as much energy in all. And guess what? Those smaller cartridges, they still get the job done. And so it comes down to me as more of what you value and what you want for your rifle. Now, if I'm in wide open spaces, a 26-inch barrel with a suppressor isn't going to be that big of a bugger. And a suppressor, I mean, from what I can tell, is going to add anywhere from 3/4 pound to a pound, which that's going to take away recoil, especially if it's braked. Like, there are different builds that are just going to be beneficial. Now, I kind of had to go look maybe down at the sea level, just because, hey, what if I take the opportunity to go down Texas, Florida, somewhere where I'm very close to sea level? I don't want to say hunt hogs or do some sort of other hunting. Is a 20-inch barrel going to be still applicable and do what I need it to do for the range I want to be in? Now, I want a little bit of a cushion for when I'm hunting, and yeah, I put that at 2,000 feet per second where I'm at. I get 2,000 feet per second for the bullet to expand. That's most bullets are rated at 1,800 feet a second, unless you're like the Nosler Accupom long range and you're 1350 for some reason. But say we still keep things at 2,000 at sea level with a 20-inch barrel and a 6.8 Western. So still, I mean, you can 6.5 PRC, 300 PRC, 7 PRC around that. G1 is 650. That still puts at 600 yards of an effective range. And if I remember correctly, it's like 1993 feet per second, so 7 feet per second different. Oh shoot, that's not good. Looks like some people got in a wreck, or someone has a bad tire. Shoot. But what was I going to say? Okay, 1993 feet per second at 600 yards. So 7 feet per second. I'm not too terribly worried about that. It's not going to be a make or break. That puts it, hey, this is the max performance, in my opinion, for this rifle with 20-inch long barrel. I still want to have a little bit more room of comfort, because a second shot is very much possible no matter what bullet construction you use. It can happen. It just is what it is. I mean, you hear good and bad pretty much about every single bullet on experiences. You can watch hunting shows and everything, and they use a litany of bullets: ELDX, ELDM, burgers, ballistic tips, anything, like, you name it, someone's taking game with it. Someone's had a bang flop, and then someone's had it run off a couple 100 yards and die. And people have had opportunities to take multiple shots on animals. No matter what the bullet construction, just is what it is. So, in that case, I want to prepare, hey, if the animal goes further. So it's, okay, 2,000 feet per second for bullet expansion. But then I also want insurance lengthwise. So I want to go out to, say, like 800 yards. So that's where that bullet or barrel length comes into play, say with the 6.8 Western example. If I'm at sea level, I'm probably going to want at least that 24, 26-inch barrel to be able to get me up to this 2,950 feet per second, to be within my range to where I'm still comfortable, the bullet's still going to do its job, and if crap hits the fan, I have an insurance policy and I know that everything's going to work. And everyone's going to have their different range, 400 yards, 200 yards. Hey, where I hunt, I'm not going over 20 yards even. Like, I've heard that. And if that's you and you're going, hey, 20 yards and in, heck, take a 16-inch barrel, 16.5-inch barrel or so. Like, you can pick whatever cartridge you want. It's going to do the job. And if by chance you're doing a 16-inch 340 Weatherby, let me know. I would like to see it. That'd be kind of funny. Especially if you're shooting, say, whitetails, and it's just your bread and butter, like deer slaying rig. That'd be kind of funny. Not gonna lie, I would probably laugh hysterically, especially if it's in a Mark V. I probably just got reloading Weatherby really riled up over that, but it's funny. I don't care who you are. But that's kind of what I'm thinking on it. Just some thoughts, just a little bit of digging. Obviously, I'm not everyone. Everyone has their own favorite cartridges, but there are some ways to build up your rifle to accomplish your needs and wants. And that's for you to decide. It's not for me to decide. But hopefully this is some things to think about. Hopefully with your next rifle build or rifle purchase, and just looking for what you want out of that rifle. I mean, there's a litany of videos out there now that have most likely every single cartridge under the sun. If Hootie Who doesn't if Hootie Who doesn't happen to have a video on it, it's probably not worth even buying that cartridge to an extent. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Just some quick thoughts. Anyways, take care, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.